Densmore offensive line.
All right. Coach, tell us how you got into your coaching career and how you got to this point.
Well, it really was Coach Smith that got me started. I was at Jacksonville, and I came home one day and he saw me, and I stopped playing. He asked me to start coaching. And I started with Emma Sampson, but the Junior Fires back then. I started at Junior Fires. Since then, I think it was long years ago.
All right. I actually played against you in school, so I know you played under George Baker, albeit it's a different sport. What were some of the things you learned from George Baker at Sampson? Because he's a legend.
Just work hard, dedicate yourself to the sport, don't give up and just keep playing.
What have you learned at your time under Coach Smith since you guys connected back in Junior Forest and Cincinnati?
Just the love for the community, and just building kids up and don't give up on them and just keep on motivating them day in and day out. And it's going to be ups and downs, and you just got to keep staying with them and keep pushing them.
What do you think the biggest difference in football as you know it today, coaching it, than when you played it?
Toughness. The kids, it's not as tough as they was back in the day. But we trying to change that, and I think day in and day out, I see a change.
All right. Who's a coach at the next level you truly admire and why?
We don't watch a lot of college football. It's sad, but I don't.
What about NFL?
Not really.
Nothing? Nobody steps out and say something out. You didn't say Nick Saban? He said nobody. All right, here's a big question that I always like to ask coaches. How do you maintain a work-life balance?
It's rough. It's very rough. I work a lot, but also, man, as I'm working, I'm thinking about ball the whole time. Even off season, you're thinking about ball. Everything you can possible to get your team better. So, as coach, for me, it's no off season and there's no downtime. And, you may be with the kids, but at the same time, you're thinking about a play or thinking about how I can get this kid better or something like that of that nature. But, we just balance it the best way we possibly can.
Absolutely. What's the maddest you've ever been on the sidelines?
That's a lot of things, well, I'm gonna tell you, in Densmore, we're now North Jackson. We playing North Jackson, and
what year was this?
I was at Emma Sampson, and I think it should have been like 2004. And it's tied up. They got the guy named Ali Cherie that went to Alabama, signed with Alabama. And it's tied up it's tied up 7-7. They on the 1 yard line. And Coach Brooker was our head coach at the time. And he told me to get in the defense. I'm like, no, coach, they gonna run the ball. They gonna run the ball. No, get in this pass prevent defense. And we got in it. And the kid went 99 yards out the gate. I was so upset. Wow, I was very mad. That was rough there.
All right. Who's the best player you've ever coached against? Somebody you really had trouble stopping?
Matt Campbell.
Matt Campbell?
Played against, but I guess playing against him is almost like coaching against him too, because he was a nightmare. But
yeah,
Matt Campbell was tough.
We've heard that from quite a few people. When's the last time you cried at a sporting event?
Probably my senior year, my last ball.
What was your most memorable moment as a player?
We just, matter of fact, talked about it when Derek Underwood, we beat Boaz, #1 in the state at that time.
Oh, yeah.
And we beat them down now at our home gym.
That's because y'all's rims has been up like
well,
that.
No. And the thing
don't say.
No, that's not true. We're gonna talk about how y'all had them rims on that mountain.
All right. Let's see. What's the maddest you've ever gotten at a player during your coaching career?
Probably at practice.
Really? Recently?
Yeah, no. It's at Emma Sampson. Kids gonna be kids, and somebody they up there horse playing, and the kid got hurt.
I got you.
You get very upset about that when you can stuff like that, injuries like that, you can control.
I got you. All right, this is the last one I got for you, Coach. Where do you want your coaching career to take you, man? Where do you see yourself in, say, 10 to 15 years?
I don't want to be nowhere over here. My role now, our program being successful, our city being successful. You know, a lot of people dream about being coaches somewhere else. It's my dream. I'm at here, and I love my city, and I just want us to be successful.
Absolutely. Appreciate you sitting in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, my name's Hunter Crumpton, and I coach defensive line at Gadsden City.
All right. Coach, how did you get into your coaching career? How did that all come about?
Oh, it was a long, winding road. I got a degree in journalism. I worked a little while in sports information. I worked my way through college in Red Lobster and became a restaurant manager. And finally just decided that restaurant life was good to me as far as paying the bills, but if I wanted to have a family and children and holidays and all those things, that I needed to get out of the restaurant business. And I've known since I was 12 years old that I wanted to teach and coach, that I wanted to work with young people. So I moved back home. I moved from Auburn, Alabama. I moved back home, searching for a job. Coach Joel Poole left M. Sanson to take over the head coaching job at Madison County High School. And my old offensive line coach, Terry Harris, was the principal at M. Sanson. He calls me up and says, "I've got an opportunity for you. If you would like to see how much you enjoy teaching and coaching, we've got one more year of the school. And you can take Coach Poole's teaching position and take his coaching position at the offensive line and spend 1 year, see how you like it." And I loved it. And I really planned on moving on. Gadsden's my hometown, but I knew the schools were consolidating. I knew the coaches had worked together at the three schools several years. But Coach Billingsley came to me at the end of the final year of the three high schools. Coach Billingsley came and said, "We like what we've seen out of you. Would you be willing to stick around and be a part of the Gadsden City program?" And that was the best day of my life. I spent the first spring with the 9th grade. They enjoyed what I was doing with the 9th grade, and Coach Billingsley, as soon as the 9th grade spring game was over that year at Oak Mountain, he said, "You'll be with the varsity the rest of the year." So that's how it started 1 year at Emma Sansom and blossomed from there. Now, I'd spent some time after high school helping with Pee Wee programs. My old Pee Wee coach, Mitchell Troop, who I have great respect for. I learned so much playing for him. He allowed me to come in and learn a little bit about coaching under him. And then I spent a few years coaching Pee Wee ball for Coach Troop, and then my high school coach, Fred Buster Gross, called me and asked if I wanted to coach middle school ball. So before I moved off to Auburn to go to college, I spent a year coaching middle school ball. And probably that 1 year of middle school ball was the best experience I've ever had coaching, because I really learned how to deal with young people as they go from childhood to teenage. As you see them change their thought processes, change what they like to do, what they don't like. That was probably the best experience I ever had as far as coming up.
Right.
And that experience stuck with me. And my mother was a teacher. My grandmother was a teacher. My grandfather was a teacher. All of his sisters were teachers.
Man.
It's just something that's been
It's
in my
your blood.
Yeah.
You mentioned Buster Gross. I actually went to church with Buster Gross for years and years. A great guy, but he's an even better man and a coach. Talk about what you learned under Buster Gross. He's a legend in the state of Alabama.
Most of what I am is what I learned from Coach Gross. Now, not only was he my football coach, he was my next door neighbor.
Oh, okay.
I grew up across the street from him.
I got you. You're gonna get watched 24/7.
I was watched 24/7. I missed 1 day of practice in 4 years of high school football.
Man.
And my best friend was his next door neighbor. And we skipped football practice. One summer practice to spend time with our girlfriends. And we spent the day with our girlfriends, and that night we were at the corner of our street at a four-way stop under the lights. The girlfriends left, and we hear real loud, "Crumpton, Hart, come here." and we look at each other and giggle. And we hear it again. It gets loud. Crumpton, Hart. I said, come here. And we know it's Coach Gross, so we run from the four-way stop straight to his house. He says, go inside, tell your parents, put on some tennis shoes, tell your parents you'll be with me. And I'll take care of it. So we start giggling and we go to separate ways, put our shoes on, we come back. And Coach Gross looks at his German Shepherd and says, you boys see my dog Major? Yes, sir. You boys see my truck? Yes, sir. Well, my dog Major's gonna keep up with my truck and you boys better keep up with Major. And we ran the hills of Monte Vista and Bellevue Drive till 3 o'clock in the morning, following behind his German Shepherd. Never missed another practice after that.
That was it for that one.
That was it.
On that same note right now, talk about the difference in how you have to relate coaching to kids nowadays, with the rule changes and everything, to something similar to what you just talked about you went through as a player.
The biggest thing I've learned, used to every player was treated the same, identical. It didn't matter, star player, youngest sophomore on the team, freshman coming up, didn't matter. Everybody was treated the same. I've learned you have to learn each player's personality, and you have to coach to that personality, to their learning style, because they all have a different learning style. The days when I played, it was fire and brimstone. It was a yelling and screaming. Now, people will tell you I'm a yeller and a screamer, but I know which ones to yell and scream, which ones to put my arm around and whisper in their ear. That's the biggest thing, is you've got to learn personalities and learn learning styles. And you have to teach to the way they learn, so they understand it.
The game itself, from a player to how it's played now, how's that changed? The biggest change, you think?
To me, the biggest change, the pad level's too high today.
You think that's contributed to the spread?
I do. I enjoy the old pad level. I enjoy 3-point stance, 4-point stance, good low pad level, head out in front, hands out in front, driving people off the ball. I'm not a big fan of stepping sideways. It's not my thing. But I have to adapt with the changes, and I can teach. And I've learned how to teach, and I was an offensive lineman. That's how I learned how to teach defensive line, was taking what I knew as an offensive lineman and what I've learned offensive linemen do today.
Did you play after Larry Rose?
Yes. I was a freshman when Larry Rose and Gene Jelks were seniors.
Oscar Malone come in?
Oscar Malone came in my senior year.
I got you.
Oscar Malone was a freshman that came up and played with us.
Wagan was...
Wagan, I was the 8th grader when Wagan was a senior.
Okay. All right, gotcha. Coach, I always ask coaches this: how do you maintain a work-life balance?
That is the biggest struggle I have in life. I have a great wife, and that's the best way to balance it, is have a great wife that understands coaching.
One that's understandable.
One that's understandable. The tough thing is trying to figure out how to spend time with your own children. But each of these players are like my children or my brother or my cousin. They have my phone number. They're welcome to text, call at any time, any day, any night. Car trouble, girl trouble, trouble at work, trouble with life, for any reason. But having a good, understanding wife makes it a little easier. But the hardest part is me trying to figure out how to take care of a 6-year-old girl and a 10-year-old girl.
Makes sense. It's hard, ain't it?
Yeah, it is.
I ask every coach that, and just about every answer's been different by every coach. Usually they all say it's the hardest. What's the maddest you've ever been on the sidelines as a coach?
To be that's a tough question to answer.
Been equally mad?
Most of the time, and I hate to say this because kids will look back at it. Most of the time when I'm yelling at a young person, it's a little bit overinflated. It's a little bit fake. The maddest I get will be at an official. Okay.
That makes sense.
And because they're supposed to keep the game in balance, and to me, don't cheat either kid on either side.
Yeah.
If it's a rule, it's a rule. Call it for both sides.
Right.
Now, if you want to see my real anger on the sideline, that'll be an official. If you hear me yelling at a young person, it's to try to get attention, try to motivate, try to find a button to push.
Yeah, at halftime at James Clemens, we caught a little bit of that.
Yeah, well, Coach Smith was like, get them out here on the field. So that was me. All right, let's go to yelling and get them on the field.
He got him on the field. Right? Me and Reggie was like, I like it. Best player you've ever coached against, somebody you're like, this dude's unbelievable.
Holy cow. That's a tough question. That question is too tough. I mean, really.
Nobody sticks out above the others.
Nobody really sticks out above the others as far as best player I've coached against, because I've coached against some great players that have gone on to play college, and I've coached against some great players that never had an opportunity to play past the high school level. Hewitt Trustful, we've played almost every year since the school's been open. Okay? And every year they have a quarterback. You may look on film and he may look like he might run a 6-second 40-yard dash with a sundial diamond. Okay? But they're always the toughest kids you'll face, and they can pick up 3, 4, 5, turn it into a 20-yard run before you know it.
Yeah. When was the last time you cried at a sporting event?
The last time I cried at a sporting event was probably when Anthony Swain, Jakari Kenny, Alonzo, when that senior class graduated, we lost at Mountain Brook. I took a little time in the corner of the locker room. My eyes teared up. That was a very special class. As juniors, they helped lead us to the semifinal home playoff game against Hoover. It was such a special group. It was 26 to 35 kids that they competed at everything they did. If it was eating chicken wings, if one ate 25, then one was going to try to eat 25 and a half. If one pitched a quarter and hit the wall and it bounced an inch away, then the next one was going to try to pitch a quarter, hit the wall, and make it bounce a centimeter away. They were that way in the weight room, but they were best friends.
Yeah.
They were great in the classroom. They were great in the locker room. They were great in the weight room. My phone is filled with their phone numbers today. I keep in touch with many of them. Those that I've lost touch with personally, I keep in touch with their parents. It's probably the last time I cried at a sporting event.
What's your getaway, Coach, when you're not playing sports, you're not working out, not teaching? I mean, what's your getaway? How do you relax, or what do you do for a hobby?
My getaway used to be, I have a 3-foot in-ground pool. I can get on the float if I fall asleep, fall off of it.
Have you done that?
I have.
Nice.
I can land on my knees and my head will still be above water. So that's probably been my biggest sports getaway. Other than that, once football season's over, I go into basketball season. I watch high school basketball. I go support the guys and the girls at Gadsden City. I may travel and watch a Auburn basketball game, Alabama, or a Jacksonville State basketball game. And then it's roll right into track season at Gadsden City.
What is it about Gadsden City that you like the most, since you've been there since the Billingsley days when it first came about?
It's the opportunity to get to know the kids that lived in the old Gadsden High School zone and get to know the kids that lived across the bridge in the East Gadsden school, the Litchfield School zone. Before that, all I knew was Sansom kids. Sansom's where I went to high school. It's where I got my start coaching. It's the people I grew up around. Gadsden and Litchfield were the big rivals for us, so we didn't really fraternize with each other.
Right.
Once the schools came together and I got to meet the Kendall Kellys from Litchfield, the D12s from Litchfield, the Darrell Smiths from Gadsden High, the Firestones from Gadsden High. Once I got to meet those kids and find out they're no different than the kids that went to Sansom. And that's probably the biggest thing, was me getting to experience kids from other parts of the city.
That makes sense. And we'll close on this one right here, Coach. Where do you ultimately want your coaching career to take you? I mean, like maybe 10, 15 years from now.
I really have no place I want my coaching career to take me. The place I want my coaching career to take is to take these young people to be good employees, good fathers, good husbands, good citizens. That's what I want. If they can be good at those, then my coaching career will be complete. Every one of us have a goal. We all want a state championship ring. And there's so many Gadsden coaches on this staff. Some that have championship rings from high school, whether it be basketball, whether it be playing football. Some who have them from coaching. And that's our goal each season. But the ultimate goal after 4 years is to make sure these young guys are great citizens, employees, husbands, fathers. And that's what I want coaching to be. 15 years, if I'm lucky enough to coach 15 more years, as long as I can look back and see great fathers, husbands, employees, business leaders, civic leaders in Gadsden, it'll all be worth it.
Absolutely. Great answer. Thank you, Coach.
Sure.